Major League Baseball, where the biggest story of the opening week has been the long ball. The Yankees in particular have hit 15 homers in 3 games, including 9 in their Saturday win over the Brewers. Aaron Judge has 4 already. 3 other players on the team have hit multiple homers. Some of those players who have gone deep include Jazz Chisholm, Austin Wells, and Anthony Volpe. And they're using a new bat called a torpedo bat that looks a little different. Created by former physics professor Aaron Leonhardt, the bats distribute more weight toward the barrel, the area in which players, of course, want to hit the baseball. 9 of the Yankees' 15 home runs have come from players using this new style torpedo bat, and that has made a lot of chatter happen on social media. Now, if you're wondering, is this even legal? You look at the bat and you're like, this thing's weird. According to the Major League Baseball rulebook, a bat that is legal must include 3 things. It must be made out of one solid piece of wood. It must have a diameter of no larger than 2.61 inches at its widest part, and the bat cannot be longer than 42 inches in length. And the Yankees torpedo bat apparently fits all 3 criteria, so therefore it is legal. Joe, joining us now is MLB insider Buster Olney for more, and maybe we can glean some info from Buster on how this could help us wager the game of Major League Baseball this year. Let's start with the impact of these torpedo bats. Just what has it been for the Yankees and other teams that are using it this year?
Well, obviously for Jazz Chisholm, for Anthony Volpe, for a few others, it's been real. They just went off over the weekend. I would say, though, so far, I think it's a really small sample size, especially because this damage was done against the Milwaukee Brewers, a team which has been decimated on the pitching side by injuries, and they don't have a lot of hard throwers. Look, the other day, Nestor Cortez got beaten up by the Yankees, allowed most of the home runs on Saturday. He was throwing under 90 miles per hour. His fastball velocity was way down. The Brewers' average fastball velocity for their staff, by far the lowest in baseball. So while this is getting a lot of attention around the sport, I know the Yankees and other teams are going to want to see more before we can draw any conclusions on this.
That's a great point, because not only did the Brewers give up 32 runs to the Yankees in the final 2 games of that series, they were back at it again today, giving up 11 runs to the Royals in an 11-1 loss. So maybe it's not just the bats. Now, however, the bats have gained enough attention, Buster, that other teams are going to start looking into this. So give us an idea of how widespread this could become. Who wants to get in, and how long would it take to get these bats implemented?
So there already were 8 teams that had these bats. There were other players who used these bats. Drake Baldwin, for example, the Braves catcher, told me last night before our Sunday night game that he actually used one of these bats in the Arizona Fall League. But look, it's a copycat league, and there were orders put in by a number of teams, including the Braves, after what they saw what the Yankees did on Saturday. They wanted to get their shipment. Manny Machado said to us during the broadcast when he's wearing the microphone, yeah, there'll be other teams that'll be grabbing onto this. Everyone's going to want to see if it's the bat or maybe the Milwaukee pitching.
All right, so let's assume a lot of teams start to get involved, and let's say the results are somewhat favorable. Do we feel as if MLB could then intervene, like we saw with the defensive shift, to a point where we say, all right, enough's enough, we need to legislate this a little bit?
Absolutely not, Joe. No way. Look, we saw one of the Brewers pitchers after the game on Sunday complain about the bat, saying he hadn't seen anything like this before. I mean, hitters have been way behind the pitchers in terms of using technology. You know, pitchers have gone into these pitching labs developed with high-speed cameras, particular pitches, and that's worked for them. So now you have on the hitting side them using technology. Baseball in recent years has been hoping that there'd be a push on offense. We're seeing it right now with these bats. They're not going to discourage players from using these bats. They're not going to discourage anything that is going to increase offense in the game.
All right, Buster, some breaking news in Major League Baseball. Right at the top of our show, it came down. Tell us what that news is and how it might affect the team involved from a betting perspective.
Yeah, outfielder Jurickson Profar, the Braves, 80-game suspension for using a banned substance. So he's out till midseason. Look, for the Braves, this is a body blow. He was their big acquisition the offseason, 3-year deal, $42 million. At age 32, coming off the best season of his career. And you got to believe within the Braves organization, they're wondering, look, that .839, 3.5 WAR season last year, is that real? Or is going forward, are we not going to get a production out of him? With Ronald Acuna Jr. out, with Spencer Strider out right now, Braves are in a tough spot. Tough schedule early in the year, and now they don't have Profar.
That is a big blow for a team that started the season winless, and they're in LA taking on the Dodgers in that outfit that looks unstoppable so far. So, Buster Olney, we appreciate you dropping by ESPN Bet Live, sharing the insight on not only the bats, but that breaking news in the big league. So, Joe, with what Buster has just told us, how should we handicap this? Again, small sample size right now.
Tremendous information from Buster. So now we want to take that, we want to apply it to the sports betting world, right? So a little investigative journalism on behalf of your boy. Earlier today, we reached out to Ed Salmons from the Westgate, one of the best in the business, and just basically asked, hey, are you guys making any adjustments at the sports book based on what we saw this past week? And here's the quote: so far, nothing has changed. I'm sure as all teams get these bats, if scoring continues like what we saw with the Yankees over the last 2 games, it will get adjusted. But I think this is more of a media thing.
Yep.
So right now, keep that in mind. We're hyping up the Yanks. Aaron Judge isn't using this bat. He's got 4 home runs. There's a great case to be made that Milwaukee just stinks serving up batting practice, because as soon as they left this series, they gave up 11 today, as we just mentioned, to the Royals. On top of that, the Cubs are using these bats. They've had some decent mixed results in Arizona, but again, you could contribute that to the elevation because Arizona is very hitter-friendly. Minnesota has some guys using these bats. They didn't score any runs in the final 2 games of their series. So it's a fun story for right now, but there's not nearly enough data out there or credible data that you can lean on to say, for one reason or another, we should be playing overs, unders, or anything like that. What we do know is one really sharp book doesn't plan on making any adjustments right now.
All right.